thing I ever feel that A'ja Wilson did wrong was knowing that she had a shoe.
Out the year on the New Heights podcast with Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey.
The drama surrounding the Nike controversy did not begin with a single tweet or an angry interview. It began quietly, almost invisibly, with expectations. For years, A'ja Wilson existed in a space where dominance felt synonymous with recognition. MVP awards, championships, defensive fear, and nightly excellence created a belief that visibility would naturally follow achievement. In many ways, that belief had been reinforced by the league itself. Wilson was celebrated as the standard, the foundation, the proof that the WNBA's growth was built on sustained excellence rather than hype. But the modern sports economy does not reward patience or legacy. It rewards momentum. And when momentum arrived in the form of Caitlin Clark, it did not knock politely. It kicked the door in and rewrote the rules in real time. The tipping point was not a game, a rivalry, or a comment.
Before Caitlin Clark's rookie season helped the WNBA hit milestone TV and attendance figures, but Clark's emergence created a toxic, racially...
It was a commercial. One Nike campaign landed with the force of cultural inevitability, while another drifted by almost unnoticed. Clark's Nike rollout felt intentional, cinematic, and symbolic. The scale of it mattered. The production choices mattered. The timing mattered. Released on Christmas Day, a date already loaded with Nike mythology, the campaign carried an unmistakable message. This was not just an endorsement. This was an anointing. Nike does not choose dates casually, and it does not spend aggressively without conviction. The visual language of the campaign communicated belief, investment, and long-term vision. It suggested that Clark was not just part of the brand's future, but central to it. Wilson's campaign, by comparison, felt restrained, almost cautious. It fulfilled its purpose, but it did not demand attention. The concept leaned on familiarity
and running around. I'm gonna just watch the NBA. Then,
rather than narrative. It did not expand her story or invite the audience into something bigger. In the ruthless economy of modern marketing, that difference is everything. Fans noticed immediately. The contrast became unavoidable, and once that comparison existed, it could not be undone. The conversation shifted from basketball to branding, from performance to positioning, from merit to momentum. This is where frustration turned combustible. Wilson had openly spoken about feeling overlooked, about narratives that minimized her contributions, about the sense that the league was drifting away from those who built it. When it became clear that she had known about her signature shoe for years while still publicly framing herself as underappreciated by Nike, critics felt misled. That perception fueled resentment, not just toward Wilson, but toward Clark, who suddenly found herself positioned as the symbol of everything changing at once. The backlash that followed was not purely organic. It was emotional, layered, and deeply tied to fears about displacement. Clark's rise did not happen in a vacuum. Her rookie season drove record-breaking television numbers, attendance surges, and unprecedented mainstream engagement. Her games consistently outperformed league averages, drawing casual viewers who had never watched women's basketball before. That kind of impact changes how corporations think. Nike is not sentimental. It does not distribute resources based on fairness or historical contribution. It invests where attention flows. And attention was flowing toward Clark at a speed that forced escalation. From Nike's perspective, not responding aggressively would have been malpractice. What made the situation more volatile was symbolism. The Christmas Day launch echoed Nike's most iconic athlete moments, inevitably inviting comparisons to Michael Jordan. That parallel alone carried enormous weight. It suggested that Nike saw Clark not just as a successful player, but as a potential cultural catalyst. That level of belief does not come without risk, but Nike has built its empire on betting early and betting boldly when cultural gravity shifts. Wilson, despite her accolades, did not offer the same magnetism in the marketplace. That is not an indictment of her talent. It is an acknowledgement of how modern influence works. The accusations of bias and favoritism emerged quickly, especially when fans pointed out that Clark joined a short list of active WNBA players with signature Nike basketball shoes alongside Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. The conversation drifted toward race, privilege, and systemic imbalance. But those arguments often ignored an uncomfortable truth. Clark's shoe was never in doubt. Her popularity made it inevitable. The market had already decided. Nike simply followed the numbers, the engagement, and the cultural response. Wilson found herself in a brutal middle ground. Her accomplishments demanded respect, but respect no longer guaranteed visibility. The league had spent years promising its stars that excellence would eventually translate into mainstream recognition. Clark's emergence shattered that promise by proving that influence can leapfrog tradition without waiting for permission. That shift does not erase Wilson's legacy, but it does reposition it within a landscape that now prioritizes narrative velocity over historical dominance. The deeper issue was not the commercials themselves. It was what they represented. Nike's unequal creative investment made visible a hierarchy that many wanted to believe did not exist. Once exposed, that hierarchy could not be unseen. Every future campaign will now be measured against this moment. Every sponsorship decision will be scrutinized through the lens of Clark's rollout. Nike effectively declared who it believes will define the next era of women's basketball, and that declaration reshaped expectations across the league. For Wilson, the emotional toll was inevitable. Watching someone else receive the full royal treatment while your own campaign fades into the digital scroll forces a reckoning. Not with talent, but with relevance. Influence cannot be protected by trophies. Popularity does not pause out of respect. Once attention shifts, it rarely returns in the same form. Clark's rise did not destroy Wilson's standing, but it did expose the difference between being the best and being the most compelling to a global audience. This moment will be remembered not as a marketing misstep, but as a turning point. It marked the exact moment when dominance stepped aside for influence, when corporate investment made clear that cultural momentum now drives legacy faster than on-court excellence alone. The league is adapting in real time, and players are being forced to confront a new reality where visibility is earned differently, faster, and with far less regard for history. If this breakdown helped you see the Nike controversy in a new light, share your thoughts below. Do you think this shift was inevitable, or could it have been handled differently? Make sure to like the video if you found value here. Subscribe for more deep dive stories on the business and power dynamics shaping women's basketball, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next as this new era continues to unfold.